All right, it is currently 4:25 p.m. It's April 20th, 2024, and I'm capturing what is again the presence of the direct evidence against the people of the state of California, which is the state of California. The presence of engineered light, where you're also looking. It's not only the fact that it's appearing through closed blinds. These blinds are closed at an upward direction, and you've already seen every type of iteration of the placement of engineer light. So the entity has engaged in all manner of what is not only an admission, in addition to what I unilaterally have demonstrated is the pattern of conduct with stalking with this engineer light. The entity went so far to provide ongoing admissions while I showed you those tactics, such as aiming engineer light on my ceiling, the pattern of the blinds appearing above my head, disappearing, moving all around, appearing above my door, appearing in the living room on the ceiling, and a trail of that light moving to be directly where I'm standing in the kitchen. You've seen dynamic engineer light on the walls while I am speaking about the fact that the people of the state are demons, and you've seen that flashing light in real time as I make such statements. This is nothing other than engineered light, okay? This is the pattern of conduct, and this is documentation of what is impunity by a government that is also obviously and clearly beyond the fact of just being exposed by the target individual, providing an ongoing admission while they do things such as fly for 47 minutes in front of the target individual's apartment. Okay, this is the nature of this evidence, and it's going against, first of all, the people of the state at Alvarado Gardens are demonstrating this is impunity in the same way that what the demon-possessed agency, the Los Angeles Police Department, what they're doing in helicopters, it's impunity that is demonstrated by the people of the state who are living at the crime scene, acting in concert with that entity. So understand the significance of this evidence that's inside of my private space on April 20th, 2024, at this time, 4:25. And I have a few videos that I'm going to upload, and it's in conformity to the body of evidence that I already have. All of that evidence is capturing what is constructive and criminal unlawful presence and admission, presence of the entity that's engaging in what is criminal surveillance and federal stalking on the venue of the internet in violation of Title 18, absent any warrant, probable cause, constitutional basis whatsoever. The government has no lawful right under any grounds, it doesn't exist, to place an American citizen under surveillance in violation of your constitutional human rights. There is no right for the government to keep you under surveillance. An innocent American citizen. And remember, the entity is engaging in what's a stalking system, monitoring system in concert with the people. That's how you have at the same time the light source that's over me in Ontario, California, which I'm using as an example at this time. You'll see inside of the Compare the P.O.C. folder where I remain at 215 East C Street. And I want to be clear because this is prosecution of the Ontario Police Department. Those demons that engaged in what is ongoing terrorism and harassment as an entity, the same entity that's stalking me when I'm in Los Angeles and engaging in what is an act of terrorism and psychological terror in concert with the people here at Alvarado Gardens for 47 minutes, demonstrating demon possession, which is the physical act. When you're seeing someone flying in the specific environment in a helicopter in a circle, this is a demon that's pacing. All right. And they're also doing so with knowledge of the fact that you're documenting it. All of this is unlawful. They're also doing it while they're monitoring you inside of the private space. This is unlawful. It's a sex offense by a demon possessed entity. And they're also doing it in what is the specific environment. So it is the pattern of conduct. The Ontario Police Department are at 215 East C Street on June 16, 2022 at 10:29 in the morning, where the light source is hovering above the same address, which I'm going to use to juxtapose the presence of this light source right now at 4:30 p.m., where the light source is present. This is during the 4 o'clock hour. I'm at that same address. And so you're understanding how you're going to prosecute the state of California, how you're going to prosecute any government that's placing you under surveillance in a very specific environment. There's no iteration of the natural environment that the sun would be present at the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library at 215 East C Street from 10 o'clock. And that's just using the example, which is surrounding the agency, the Ontario Police Department, the state of California. The state of California that was acting via Ontario Police in the same way that the state of California is acting in LA via the Los Angeles Police Department, who are engaging in state surveillance and terrorism using helicopters, okay? While they are maintaining presence via the people of the state at Alvarado Gardens, all of whom are going to federal prison because they live at a facilitating venue, an intolerable level of criminal facilitation of an entity that's engaging in what is the outward obvious criminal tactics of keeping you under surveillance and terrorizing you. So this light activity, in other words, the analysis is as follows. Not only is this evidence against the Ontario Police Department, who were clearly engaged in the pattern of conduct, and also then engaged in what is criminal summoning and kidnapping, while the entity is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, they also engaged in criminal defamation. And you have the facilities, not only the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department that is subject to federal prosecution, and they're going to federal prison, all of those hands engaging in that ongoing kidnapping. And it's occurring under what's a light source that's not at the same time remaining, the sun that is not going to still be at that Ovid Family Community Library, just like the documentation I'm going to upload to the folder today so that you can compare it to what you're looking at inside of my apartment. That's not going to be the natural environment. Okay, that's a prosecution. That's just one way that you're using that analysis. It's also not going to be at any vantage point coming through closed blinds or open blinds and through my bedroom window in Los Angeles at 1806 North Alvarado Street at 4:25 p.m. when you're looking at what is the light source that's remaining at that address, the Ovid Family Community Library. Okay, you're looking at what is impunity. Those are the demon-possessed entity that engage in kidnapping and stalking in helicopters and engaging in what is impunity while they use minor children. That's what you saw Susana Martinez engaging in. Susana Martinez, who has the minor children, you saw them pacing all around in engineered light under the light source in concert with LAPD, and they engage in that ongoing presence of dynamic light. And I want to let you know why, because they want me to cease speaking about what I'm telling you, but it's not a distraction. That's an ongoing admission to the fact that these are in fact demons. There is no sunlight that would ever create that, right? That wasn't the sun that was over the Ontario Police Department. That's also not the sun that would be visible through this window. The sun would never be present for a series of hours for the duration of the day. That is the prosecution. That is the ongoing criminal evidence against the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department. Remember, the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct as well, seeking to kidnap me, knowing very well that I could articulate the unlawful basis of my arrest on the first outset, and that entity engaged in. It's not just the fact that the P.O.C. was underway. It's not just the specific environment, by the way, which I documented outside of the window of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center after the entity engaged in kidnapping under the light source at 10:29 in the morning. And I'm going to upload video after 4 p.m. where the light source is still at the Ovid Family Community Library and nowhere near my apartment through my bedroom window through closed blinds, creating any dynamic light or aiming any light on my floor or on the bed or any dynamic light which would show what is a movement of the sunlight. None of that is natural light. These are demons that are engaging in state surveillance and real-time monitoring. That's why you saw that engineered light. It is an admission against the entity that is the LAPD. These are demons who are going to be removed from their positions. They are helping you understand what is demonic activity that is underway in a population in the state of California that is legally relevant for their prosecution in concert with the people of the state who are likewise demons, showing that same hostility and threatening the lives of American citizens whom they are secretly placing under surveillance, and they do it through the presence of this engineered light. And the analysis is very consistent. No sun will be present at the Ovid Family Community Library from 10:30 until after 4 p.m. No sun is present over that same venue at 4 p.m. at 215 East C Street and visible through my window at 1806 North Alvarado Street and aiming any sort of light activity. The two are not the same. The two are not happening at the same time. In addition, you already know what the entity is doing in LA. These demons are stalking and engaging in surveillance in a helicopter 24 hours a day in concert with demons such as Marina Davila, who are engaging in what is impunity while you're looking at them, her and Carmen Carreto, in concert with those under the age of majority, Susana Martinez's teenagers who are engaging in this ongoing demonic system, pacing all around in engineered light while the light source remains over my over my apartment through the living room window at over 7 a.m. I'll upload a video so you can see, and outside of this window until after 6 p.m. That's not the natural environment either. And the entity engaged in an outright departure from a sun being anywhere over the Ovid Family Community Library while it's engaging in what is maintaining the center of the universe through my apartment, okay? And that's what you're capturing when the sun is rising and the sun is setting through the windows of one apartment at over in excess of 11 hours. At no time would the sun ever be present at Ovid Family Community Library at 4 p.m., which is the very evidence that I'm going to upload to the Compare the P.O.C. folder. And it is the federal prosecution of the state of California. All 59 units at Alvarado Gardens, they're filled with third parties by virtue of the presence of that specific environment, which is a scientific impossibility, in addition to that dynamic light that you just saw appear across the wall. It's the evidence of the condition of the entity that's placing you under surveillance. It is the evidence of that which is physically invisible, by the way, the fact that they're demons. And it's not just the fact that they are criminally monitoring in the United States. It's the fact that it's a demon-possessed population that's engaging in this criminal act. Okay, all of that is relevant by what you just saw, the light activity and this dynamic light, okay? So I want you to see the light source because there's no sun. Also, I'm using Starbucks at 4:22 p.m., 507 North Euclid Avenue. The light source is over me at Starbucks. That's the same exact analysis. Not only would it not be present, visible outside of my bedroom window, the sun is also rising outside of my living room window in the morning. At what time is the sun ever going to be over Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue at 4:22 in the afternoon? That's never happening. You also know, as a matter of fact, that the sun is actually not going to be present at one address, visible through the windows of one apartment from the beginning to the end of the day, such as you're looking at a supposed sunrise and a sunset. At no point is the sun ever creating any sunlight appearing through closed blinds, creating dynamic light, so that you're seeing what are supposedly leaves blowing in trees through the closed blinds that are magnified on the wall, creating any sort of flashing of light like you saw while I was giving you the legal analysis of the demon possessed who are engaging in this criminal system. None of that is going to occur when you're understanding and witnessing the evidence against the people of the state and the state of California that's engaged in state surveillance. This is the evidence against all third-party group stalkers who are living in the units, all 59 units here, and it is their federal prosecution. They're all going to federal prison. And Susana Martinez's minor children engaging in those federal offenses with impunity with LAPD, who arrived in that same video stalking in helicopter. And I'm referencing yesterday, April 19, 2024, where the light source, by the way, was nowhere near building 1818. It was remaining over building 1800 in alignment with my leasing office because that's where I was standing. But you also know that at no time would it even be present. I wouldn't even be able to capture it. There would be none of this light because the entity is keeping the light source where I'm located, which is where the criminal pattern of conduct is underway. And that's the prosecution of the people of the state acting via Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California, where that same entity is engaging in what is terrorism, engineered light, which is a terrorizing threat. It's a molestation of your person. It's that which is showing the prima facie case for federal group stalking and monitoring, which is attaching, by the way, demonic activity, Satanism, and Starbucks, all right? A connection that you're not ordinarily making, but it is inextricably linked to what Starbucks is engaging in because that light activity and that light source is not there accidentally. It is within a pattern of conduct by the state of California, all right? So the entity is maintaining this light source, and these are videos that I will upload to the Compare the P.O.C. folder. The entity is maintaining this light while it is, as you already know, engaging in ongoing obsessive stalking. It is the prosecution of all of those that engaged in kidnapping by the Ontario Police Department on more than one occasion. All I did was remind you about what the entity was placing over my head here at Alvarado Gardens at 10:30 in the morning, and all I did was pull up video evidence of what is a specific environment at 215 East C Street at 10:30 in the morning, where this same entity engaged in what is kidnapping. These same demons who are living at a crime scene, they created a false narrative while they're monitoring and are exceedingly hostile and all engage in what is a kidnapping. Let me be clear, it's not just the demons that are wearing badges. The people of the state are engaged in kidnapping while they are together engaging in that concerted act of monitoring and group stalking and harassment as an entity. Let's be clear on that. That's why all 59 units are going to federal prison as well that live here. They're engaged. This is the entity that engaged in kidnapping, that engages in criminal defamation, that's engaging in what is impunity, that engaging in what is ongoing terrorism and psychological torture while you're looking at that light activity. And it's going against the Ontario Police Department, the Los Angeles Police Department, the Fontana Police Department, the Upland Police Department, the San Bernardino Police Department, the Montclair Police Department, the Chino Police Department, the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, the Los Angeles Police Department. All of them are surrounded by a body of evidence speaking to what is not possibly the natural environment. You can literally use this evidence in the presence of the light source at this time of day, because at no time ever is the light source going to be over any of those agencies who are heavily documented when I'm in an entirely different region, including when I went to Los Angeles in 2020 and there was no sun that would ever be outside of my bedroom window while it remained over me, and LAPD was group stalking as I went up and down Cesar Chavez at the Union Station, and the light source was hovering above me, and the Los Angeles Fire Department and their ambulances were engaging in what is group stalking at that time in an entirely different location, where I got back on Metrolink and the light source was remaining as I went back to Ontario. All of it is the prosecution of the state, because this demonic entity is imitating the natural environment, and it is the direct prosecution of an entire state. Okay, so this is speaking to, again, the self-destructive nature of the demon-possessed population, which is revealing, I want to be clear, to the federal courts, to the federal judges. You're understanding, you're analyzing that just like you would any other stalker. It's exhibiting a life-threatening level of obsession. This ongoing impunity is a threat to the life that a government is posing while they're monitoring on the internet, know exactly what you're documenting, and they still get up every day and they're still engaging in what is stalking and monitoring you. Still doing that, even engaging in what is evidence, which I'm going to submit in a federal court against all of these police departments who represent the state of California and the people of the state who represent the same entity of this impossible light, which is a pattern, while all of the entity is literally monitoring documentation. That's an impermissible threat. That's an obsessed psychopathic stalker, and that's a threat to your life while the government is engaging in that and waging that threat against the ordinary targeted individual. I want you to look very closely, because I told them on June 16th, 2022, that they were all going to federal prison. I did not mince words. I called them right by their name. Their name, it's Satan. Those were demons of the Ontario Police Department, just like the Los Angeles Police Department. This is dynamic light. These are leaves on trees that you saw outside, above building 1818. This is impossible light, and it's entirely demonic. And it's speaking to the condition while you saw that light source, which would never remain at Ovid Family Community Library, and is not going to be outside of my bedroom window at the same time. Nor is the sun ever going to be seen rising and setting at one address. And that's how you prosecute a government for placing you under surveillance, through what are demonic methods, also in violation of Title 18, 22618, subsections 1 and 2. It is currently 4:40 p.m. and this is the prosecution. Understand the state of California and Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, who also engaged and participated in that active obstruction of justice, not only engaged in criminal summoning in concert with the people are also documented engaging in what is kidnapping as an entity that's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. The people and the state also engaged in what is criminal defamation, the pattern of conduct, while, by the way, the entity has at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, as a matter of video documentation, impossible light activity inside of that room where I was kept kidnapped, where I was attacked, where my body was filled with drugs, okay, while they were kidnapping me and trying to force me to remain as a patient outside of my rights and my clear ability to articulate the fact that I no longer want to stay. All right, there are laws and policies where they should have released me. Even after engaging in what is the kidnapping, they sought to, again, within the pattern of conduct, keep me there while they were monitoring. The light source is also captured outside of my window, and I will upload that video for you, because everybody at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center is also being documented, and they're going to federal prison. So while the entity engages in the pattern, this is what I mean by self-destructive. This ongoing obsession is to its own demise. This is also informing federal policy. Those that are calling themselves medical professionals, you have group stalkers that are in positions that are threatening the lives of American citizens. Everything that I advocate is for a reason. Okay, those that are going to be placed on the list maintained by the Department of Justice, they should not be in the legal profession. They should not be in law enforcement. They should not be in the medical profession. The entity that's engaged in group stalking is seeking to discard the American citizen whom they are placing under surveillance, and in clear violation of their rights and common sense. Those who are abusing positions that they are in the secrecy of the inside of their facilities, where they're engaging in what is psychological torture. They're engaging in what is defamation for purposes of obstructing justice. And that's exactly what Arrowhead Regional Medical Center was documented engaging in, Chino Medical Center, and the many facilities who engaged in kidnapping with this entity, acting specifically via Ontario Police. But let me be clear, Ontario Police, the Los Angeles Police Department, same exact entity. So I want to be this entity that engaged in kidnapping, defamation, and also multiple acts of kidnapping on more than one occasion. The entity is still engaging in what is that ongoing threat to my life. They are engaging in this psychotic behavior and then turn around and try to defame the target individual. I want you to understand that malice. Understand that malice, and that is worthy of federal prison. And I don't mean just, you're talking about a prolonged term, a minimum, okay? You're talking minimum of years in federal prison, and this is what justice requires. That's why I go to the link that I go to give you the analysis and let you understand fully what it is that you are looking for, what you're analyzing, and what it is reasonably construed as. You're putting yourself in the place of the ordinary target individual. That's on whose behalf I'm speaking. Okay, so it is currently 4:43 p.m. You saw that light activity. You see the ongoing presence of light that's moving progressively behind a headboard. Okay, while the entity is keeping a light source here in alignment to my window till after 6:30, and the evidence is showing the sunset while I'm in Upland, California. The evidence is showing a sunset while I am, not just Upland, but the Upland Public Library, while I am at the 225 South Euclid Avenue, the museum of the Ontario Museum of Arts, by the way, where I am waking up as a matter of documentation, and the light source is hovering over the side that I slept at the museum, where the entity also was keeping a moon at night over the side where I slept at the museum. This is the pattern of conduct. And then this same entity engages in plain view, stalking somebody for 47 minutes in a helicopter. Okay, that's speaking to impunity. That's speaking to a delusional level of fooling itself like they're going to, what sort of government will provide that sort of evidence against itself and everyone else? Someone who has for a long time practiced corruption and does not realize that their time is up, and there are real consequences for that as the targeted individual continues to look at it in its private space and in its workspace and everywhere that they're going. It's not the natural environment. So it's 4:44 p.m. This is P.O.C. I will upload those videos to the Compare the P.O.C. folder. Again, you're going to understand this is prosecution of Starbucks. The prosecution of Starbucks, which is the people of the state, that is the prosecution of the entire state. Starbucks represents quote unquote American society. What's happening in Starbucks, that's illustrative of every other person. California, cool. Everybody wants to be what's going on. No, you don't. California's full of a bunch of demon-possessed group stalkers who are part of some secret society, who are engaging in what are torturing American citizens in the dark.